Welcome back to Splendid Tales, where stories are never simple. They explode with lessons. Tonight's story is no different, so sit tight, and if you're enjoying it, don't forget to like and subscribe because this ride is about to get wild. Marcus Hill had clawed his way up from the ground floor of life to one of the highest positions in America, FBI director. Yet, when he moved his family into a quiet apartment complex, all he wanted was peace. His wife dreamed of mornings on the balcony, his children of afternoons in the courtyard, and Marcus of simply being seen as a man. Not a title, not a headline, just a father. But peace had enemies, and his enemy wore a uniform. Officer Brad Coleman was the kind of man whose ego couldn't fit in the room unless everyone else shrank. He had power in his little corner, and that badge made him think he was untouchable. When Marcus stepped out of a moving truck, dressed in a clean polo, smiling with his kids, Brad didn't see a family. He saw trouble. That night, Brad sat in his patrol car watching. He told himself it was suspicious activity, but truthfully, it was obsession. He saw Marcus carrying a bookshelf and thought, probably stolen. He saw his wife wave at neighbors and thought, probably distracting them while he hides drugs. He built lies in his head until they became gospel. Neighbors noticed Brad circling. "Isn't he the new FBI guy?" one whispered. Another shrugged. "Looks like the cops got it out for him." But Brad didn't notice the whispers. He was too busy scribbling fake suspicions in his little black notebook, convinced Marcus didn't belong. What Brad didn't know was this. He was poking at a lion, mistaking it for a house cat. Officer Brad Coleman's obsession grew like mold in a dark basement, festering, toxic, and hard to ignore. By the second week, he wasn't just circling the apartment complex. He was parking across the street at odd hours, binoculars in hand, like some bargain bin detective in a cheap movie. Neighbors rolled their eyes. "Isn't he supposed to stop crime, not invent it?" one muttered. But Brad, fueled by prejudice, kept convincing himself he was the only one smart enough to see through Marcus Hill's calm demeanor. It got worse. Marcus's son, barely 12, was stopped in the hallway and frisked for hidden weapons. His daughter, walking home with groceries, was asked if the bags were really hers. Every move Marcus's family made, Brad turned into suspicion. It was harassment dressed up as police work, and everyone knew it. But Marcus, seasoned by years of climbing through bureaucratic storms, stayed calm. He documented everything, every question, every patrol, every sneer from Brad's face. Like a hunter laying bait, Marcus let Brad dig his own grave. Brad's arrogance, however, made him sloppy. One night, neighbors caught him yelling outside Marcus's door, demanding to search for contraband. Phones came out, recording every second. His voice cracked with rage as he shouted insults too vile to repeat. And Marcus, he opened the door slowly, standing tall, silent, his presence alone making Brad's temper boil hotter. The trap was tightening, but Brad was too blind to see it. By now, Brad Coleman had turned the entire building into his stage, stomping around like some sheriff from a bad western, convinced the neighbors respected him. In truth, they laughed behind his back. "Look at him," one tenant whispered, filming from a window. "He's losing it over a family just trying to live." Clips of his tantrums began circulating online, each one uglier than the last. One night, Brad went nuclear. He marched into the courtyard where Marcus's children were playing basketball and accused them of gang activity. The kids froze, stunned, while the ball rolled away. Parents came out, phones raised, and soon the courtyard was glowing with the eerie light of dozens of cameras. "You think your little badges protect you?" Brad sneered, spittle flying. Marcus stepped forward then, calm as a monk in a hurricane. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't swing back. Instead, he looked Brad dead in the eye and said, "You've mistaken patience for weakness." The crowd murmured. The camera zoomed in. Brad's face turned beet red. That night, the internet lit up with the footage. Millions watched a raging officer scream at a calm, composed black man. The captions wrote themselves, "The bully meets his match." Brad became a meme, his twisted expression plastered across screens worldwide. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to Splendid Tales because the downfall hasn't even peaked yet. By the time the sun rose on the final chapter of Brad Coleman's crusade, his world was already in freefall. His name trended on every platform, hashtags burning like wildfire. Neighbors avoided eye contact, the department stopped defending him, and sponsors who once shook his hand now treated him like a virus. Still, Brad clung to his delusion. He marched up to Marcus's door one last time, fists clenched, convinced he could intimidate the man into silence. Marcus opened the door slowly, dressed in a sharp suit, his FBI badge gleaming under the hallway light. Cameras were already waiting. Journalists, neighbors, even national outlets. Marcus had set the stage perfectly. "Officer Coleman," Marcus said coolly, "thank you for making this easy." He stepped aside, revealing two federal agents behind him, ready with a warrant. The crowd gasped as Brad's face collapsed. He sputtered excuses, shouting about conspiracies, about how this isn't fair. But the world wasn't listening. The handcuffs clicked shut, and for the first time, the man who loved to humiliate others stood in silence, drowning in his own shame. The videos of that arrest went nuclear. People cheered. Memes turned him into the symbol of everything rotten with unchecked prejudice. Marcus, once just a neighbor, had become a figure of quiet justice. And Brad Coleman? He was remembered only as the man who made the biggest mistake of his life. Viewers, if that ending hit you hard, smash that like button and subscribe to Splendid Tales. More stories that expose truth and flip power on its head are on the way.